a week away from the fantasy football finals. This guy's on the fence. Twan made some questionable moves.
We're dealing with injuries right now, and Kenneth Walker better get his shit together, or else the number 1 points for guy in the league since like week 4 is gonna get bounced. I made the move for Bijan so that way I could have the safety net in case there's like a goose egg somewhere, but
it's gonna come down to the fence.
Bro, not against the kids I'm playing right now. Like some of these teams that I'm looking at, I'm like,
legit.
Fuck.
But we hope you guys have all had success, and if you didn't, thank you so much for sticking along and having another fantasy football season with us. Our fifth fantasy football season, so plenty more to go. I will say I have 2 leagues that I'm still alive in. One of them I just got bounced by Uncle Tony. I beat myself, so that's usually what happens right now is you try and get cute. And I should have known better because Thursday Night Football, especially fantasy playoffs, but I'm like, bro, like Jawan Jennings really has been balling. I was talking to a lot of people that like were big on Jawan Jennings. You were, Kenny was. And Aaron Jones really hasn't like he's done good, but like 20-point performances, like it was a lot to ask. And I was a little bit more wary because I had Sam Darnold and Justin Jefferson. So I'm like, am I really going to rely on 3 Vikings on Monday night to do this for me? And, I mean, we both thought the 49ers were going to win. But speaking about thinking they were going to win, what's that pick total at, Twan?
Buddy, I got one on you last week. So
What?
don't you worry. Don't you worry. Hey, slow and steady. We got a couple weeks left. Slow and steady, week by week.
Yeah.
I'm gonna keep on crawling.
We'll see.
Don't you
pal.
worry, bud. Don't
We'll
you
see.
worry.
But Merry Christmas to you, the family, and to everyone that celebrates Christmas. And if you don't, we'll just say Happy Holidays. This will be likely our last episode of 2024. So once again, we really appreciate you guys, and we're looking to start 2025 off strong. Playoff previews, fantasy football award show, a lot of fun stuff coming. But we do have the Week 16 fantasy football rankings. We do have a Thursday night football game, and I already know where I'm leaning on that game. We'll get into it, yeah. Okay. And we have some Saturday football here. I am a little displeased. I know that we were talking about this in the chat earlier. It's just weird, 1 o'clock NFL game on a Saturday.
It is.
Like,
It just feels like watching college football. Like that's kind of what it feels like. But
if you wanted to make like the whole primetime thing Saturday night for like college football, I know 1 o'clock's like typically like the early start times, but like maybe do like a 3 and a 6. Like I know that there's some overlap there, but like if you can put 2 Monday night football games in a half hour within each other, then why couldn't you do that on like a Saturday,
Which channel are the games on? Because it might be a rights deal with the TV where they're like,
sure.
hey, we already have had this one booked. If you want the Saturday, we have
this is what it is.
50-year contract with college football to play at this time.
So. No, that's definitely what it comes down to. But I'm just like, you have enough power, you can control that.
I know, literally. Dude. Goodell just fucking they're
playing their cards. But Thursday, Denver at the Chargers. Do you know where you're leaning here? Because I do.
Denver got the first one, right?
Don't recall, but I believe so. I'm going LA, bro. LA's lost 3 of 4 in the hunt for the playoffs. Not that leapfrogging or beating Denver, having the same record would make a difference because they're both going to be wild card teams behind Kansas City. But for the Chargers, I think the implications are a little bit stronger just because I know Miami lost last week, but like the Colts, are a team that's in there. So the AFC playoff picture still has a bunch of different ways to maneuver. And on Saturday, we have Houston at KC, which should be an interesting game. I'm not writing off either of these teams in this matchup.
I like how Houston's defense played against Miami.
Bro, Stingley playing great down the stretch.
Dude, and fucking what was his name? The safety, Bullock.
Oh.
Bullock balled out.
Did he?
He had 2 picks. He had a pick. The other one, it went right out of his hands, but he was D'ing up Jonnu like fucking glue for a while.
It's crazy that like Miami literally waits till like the last drive to try and get Jonnu involved in every single game.
Then he has 9 catches on that drive and they score, and you're like,
yeah, why didn't you do that all game?
I don't know. That's why he's my flex spot this week. Like I'm banking on him big time to put up another 20-point performance.
Really? Houston, I will say, your offensive studs for fantasy football do look a little bit concerning. Joe Mixon had a dud, got a little bit banged up, and Obviously, Nico had 2 touchdowns, so like that's a great performance for week 1 of like the fantasy playoffs. But 4 catches on 27 yards.
And what's good with Tank Dell?
Yeah, well, Tank Dell looked fantastic as a punt returner and kick returner.
I don't know why the offense isn't getting off the ground like they did last year.
Expectations.
Yeah.
And the offensive line's playing a little bit differently now at this point in the season than they were earlier. But Saturday night, bloodbath in the AFC North, Pittsburgh at Baltimore for the division.
I can't go against Pitt, dude. Like,
yeah.
I think them losing to the Eagles and like the Ravens, the Ravens looked insane against the Giants, yes. And I think Derrick Henry actually may still have a day, but
it's gonna be
I'm gonna go Pitt.
It's gonna be a nail bite. There's gonna be less than 30 points scored by both teams. It's gonna come down to field goals. Hopefully Justin Tucker's on his A game. Hey, it would have been very friendly of the Ravens to kick some field goals for Justin Tucker going into this week and maybe shed some touchdown points off of the Giants. But if you tailed what I told you, -20 on the alternate line for the Ravens, lock. Absolute
dude.
Lock.
Easy money.
But, Twum, tight ends. Let's get into it.
Tight ends list looks so good every week now, man.
It does, and I actually have, like, 2 guys off of the list, but I feel like I still kind of have to mention them. I feel like if you have any of these 3 guys around like the 10 spot, or if these guys are in, your fantasy lineups, you should still feel pretty good, even though, they're not really in like the 9-1 range. But Jonnu, Kincaid, and Kraft were all around like my back end. Kincaid looked phenomenal coming back for the Bills, and that's kind of what they needed. Kraft has really been hit or miss, but going into Monday night with the Saints, I mean, my alternative option from Kraft is Kyle Pitts, and, dude, Pitts has kind of sucked as of recently.
I don't even blame Pitts, dude. I think Kirk is playing some of the worst football we've seen him play.
No, he is, and I think, that has drastically changed, the perspective of Atlanta's season. And the last one, Jonnu, is, like, he's another one hit or miss, but, like, he's probably the most consistent out of those 3. I would say Kincaid probably has the biggest boom potential, but let's not sleep on, Kraft being he's going to finish the year arguably as like a top 5 tight end statistically.
He'll be in our
positional rankings,
100%.
no doubt. I mean, the dude has 7 touchdowns on the year, and I'd probably say 5 of those probably came in the last like 4 weeks of the season. The last 4 weeks.
And dude, Green Bay's like hitting their stride. Like, this is the Green Bay stride that we've been waiting to see. Is like at the end of the year, it's Green Bay does this thing where like they have their moments in the middle of the season where you're like, are they?
Bro,
really?
four losses: Vikings, Lions twice,
Eagles.
And Eagles.
Yeah,
which is crazy.
And one of the Lions ones was a fucking game-winning field goal, right?
Yeah. Gonna be a close game with. If they get the Rams, I know that they were able to take care of business versus them, but I think especially with the injuries going on for the Lions, a lot to overcome there. The A.J. Brown injury, I think, is going to have some impacts. Like, I know he was able to finish the game and they were able to take care of things, but I think that one's going to be a little bit dicey. Maybe Devonta Smith has a little bit more of added play and just being a little bit more efficient with the ball. But outside of those 3 that I kind of talked about with the 10 range, 9 I have Hawkinson going against Seattle. That's going to be a really good game. Have to imagine that Seattle is going to play a little bit better, because if they don't, the Rams are going to take that division. And yeah, Seattle might have a spot, but there's also, some competition, on the back end. If Atlanta could ever figure it out, it looks like the Bucs are going to wrap up that division. So we'll see what happens. 7, I have Freiermuth. I think the tight ends in this game are absolute. 8, I have Laporta. Sorry, skip Laporta. Laporta going against Chicago. I feel like the Lions trust the offensive side of the ball so much at this point in time right now, and I just feel like that's why Dan Campbell made that onside kick call early in the 4th quarter. I know like they ended up coming close in the game, and maybe they should have went a different direction there, but still think Laporte is going to be prominent in that offense.
Right thing, though. I think it was the right thing to do. It's like, listen, you got to stop Buffalo one way or another. I feel like if Buffalo was
it would have
playing
just took
from
more
the
time
30
off the
and
clock.
got exactly,
yeah.
like exactly, and some people might not like the call, but like, dude, how are you going to tell Dan Campbell what to do when he's sitting right in front of you at 12-2?
Yeah, no, absolutely. And he still would make that choice 10 out of 10 times.
100%.
7, like I said, Fryermuth, and 6 is Andrews in that same game. I think that this is going to be very tough, very hard-nosed game. A lot of field goals, but these guys have been the safety blankets for both of those quarterbacks. Maybe Pickens comes back healthy, and that should open things up a little bit more for Fryermuth, but we haven't really seen the Zay Flowers game, and I don't think the Steelers game is going to be it, if you want me to be honest. Look for these tight ends to eat here.
Love it. 10, I got Tucker Kraft, so I do put him here at the 10, but like another guy that I left just out, dude, first time I've left him out in a long time, I left K. Dotton out. Now, K. Dotton might have a day. I'm feeling there's 2 other options on this Buccaneers team in the passing game that I'm going to ride with this week that I think are going to be very, very impactful. So I left Otten out the list just because of that. 9, I went Ferguson. I get Cooper Rush kind of stinks, but listen, Ferguson's got to get his at some point. I think he'll get his this week. So I'm putting him at 9. 8, I got Hawkinson. He's back involved in that offense, and with the way that
he's just not scoring.
He's not scoring. But at some point, a team's going to be like, dude, we got to shut down Jettas and Addison, and then that's just going to open up Hawkinson, and I think we might see that this week. 7, I got Laporta. Think they're going to get him involved. Think the Lions need the offense to absolutely flourish, and Laporta is obviously a big part of that. And 6, I got David Njoku. I think David Njoku is going to be in for a pretty decent week.
If he comes back healthy.
If he comes back, correct.
Yeah, I do have him in the rankings at 5, I have Kelsey, just because I know there's a little bit uncertainty. Patrick Mahomes practiced today, so that's obviously, steps in the right direction. He did come out and say that this injury was not as bad as the injury he had prior, I believe it's the 22-23 season, but he just honestly has like the worst ankles. Like
he really does. The second worst.
Yeah. Legit. But Houston, they're pretty stingy against the tight end. I know it's Kelsey, and I feel like he doesn't even run like a full route tree. He just makes his route based on the coverage that he gets, and I know that's a Mahomes-Kelsey thing, and that's why they've been so successful. I do just kind of think that, if Stingley's playing that good, that might, even though D-Hop is playing against like his old team and things like that, I just can't see him going for like 80. Maybe he has like 40 and a touchdown, but Kelsey should have a majority of the yardage. And that ground game is not impressing me. You are not going to hit any Chiefs in the running back rankings here.
100% agree. I actually think Houston's going to sneak it from them this week.
They could. I know last year at this time, everyone kept doubting KC, and they end up going to win the Super Bowl. It feels different to me.
It does feel different. It does. And the defense has played great, but like
they played. Yeah, I mean, I want to say they kind of have played great, but it's just
Jameis is throwing for yards on even though he looked fucking terrible against Kansas City, but against these other teams, like even if it's not the prettiest, he's throwing 300, 400 yards on the ball.
Well, now he's benched.
Yeah, I know.
Which is kind of crazy because I just kind of feel like that's the expectation with Jameis, and you have to take the good with the bad. That's the most electric the Browns have looked in 2 years.
I know, dead ass, dude, dead ass. It looked fucking insane.
Nah, last year with Flacco was pretty crazy, but
that was fun too.
Yeah, but still,
it's fun watching Flacco.
4, since we're talking about the Browns, this is where I have Njoku. Sure. I do think that if he plays, that he will get in the end zone. Should have 5 catches easy. I feel like his reception line is usually around 5.5, so it's gonna play around with that number.
I don't like how DTR throws the ball though.
Yeah, I know.
That's what sketches me out. But the one guy to eat is going to be the fucking...
I was going to say, does that make you feel a little bit more wary about Judy? Because I have Judy in the rankings, and this was before, the whole news kind of came out. But I think that we'll see what happens when we get to the receivers.
You have to have him in there because of how he's played so far. But, I'm very weary that, listen, I'm not expecting Judy to put up the 40-point number that he'll occasionally throw up with Jameis, every other week.
He might be cooling down a little bit now with Judy there. But 3, I have Kittle. Going against Miami, I do expect both of these teams to kind of play well. Might be a big Achane week. Interested to see what happens with San Francisco. I know that they want to really get the ball rolling, even if I know their playoff hopes aren't completely gone, but they're practically donezo. So
how the Rams have started to turn it up, dude.
Yeah, absolutely. But the why I think this game will be really close. When we're talking about 2 teams that run the same system, at least on offense. I know defense is a little bit differently, but both these teams playing to, just try and keep their hopes alive. 2, I do have McBride right above Kittle going against Carolina, very favorable matchup, and I don't think the Cardinals have any choice but to really, go out and ball this game. And not saying that Connor's going to have a tough time, but after he just puts up the game that he did against New England, he's not really a guy that's like a repeat performance of like 20 plus. I think it could be an MHJ game. The passing game should get going here. And one is Bowers going against Jacksonville. I'm happy I won the game with Bowers only putting up 3 points because going against Jacksonville next week, this dude's going to ball.
Bro, this dude has to save my team this week. He legit, between him, Jamar Chase, and Bijan Robinson, I need 100.
You need to be carried.
Yeah. I need to be carried because I have Darnold at quarterback. Didn't look great this week. He looked good,
was like
but
his
not in
worst fantasy game in like 10 weeks.
I know, dude. I know, and I think he's gonna play good this week. So
yeah, he should.
God. Speaking of playing well, Mark Andrews has been revived because Mark Andrews at the beginning of the season what looked like the worst fantasy pick of all time. Dude's back, full swing. Kudos to Mark Andrews. Jonnu Smith, I got it for. Another dude playing really, really well once they start to get him in. Yeah, and I think for some reason, I think that Miami's going to turn it up when they play the Niners. I think I'm going to go with Miami this week.
Miami cucked you last week.
They did, but I didn't bet on them, so we're good. But I feel like when McDaniels and Shanahan play each other, they're both going to bring out everything they got. And I think McDaniels has more new tricks than Shanahan does right now. So, I think Jonnu's a big piece of that. So I think Jonnu's going to eat this week.
I mean, especially if Waddle doesn't play. Like, we know he was banged up. Like, I don't know, like, what the full breakdown is on, like, the injury news. And I haven't heard anything about him practicing. Where it was a knee and where he didn't play a whole second half of the game. I don't know if they were just kind of being precautionary.
Especially because he's always hurt, too. So, you have to. He can very easily go in and tweak it again.
But he can change a game, too, So it could make a big difference. But that should be an absolute boost for Jonnu Smith.
Absolutely agree. And our 3-2-1's the same. Kittle, McBride, Bowers, the 3 best in the game right now.
Absolutely. Quarterbacks. This one should have some differences. I feel like this is a pretty solid list. 12, I do have Russ against Baltimore. After playing them with him at quarterback, I do kind of feel like having some tape and being able to adjust the defense should help. I don't think that they should just play, man on the outside because they obviously have the wide receivers that can beat that, and I feel like that's kind of where to beat the Ravens. So not saying that they shouldn't stack the box, but I do feel like the Ravens play pretty good against the run. So just some things to kind of keep in mind there with Russell Wilson, but I look for him to find Freiermuth, still throw for 200 yards. But the difference in this game for both teams is really going to be who can finish drives and who is going to just, settle for field goals. But points
Dude,
are points.
If you're doing a field goal fest, you have to take Pittsburgh because Boswell nails and Tucker's not nailing right now.
I know. So we'll see what happens. 11, I do have Stafford. I just think in the scenario that they are, I hope you're not riding with the Jets again. You were so confident about that one and literally came down to the wire, which is crazy. A Mac Jones Jaguars team.
Bro. And Mac did the most Mac thing ever for me and throw a pick to seal the deal.
I know. Bro, I was dying for that not to be the case. I literally we were at the Triplets house because it was their birthday on Sunday. Yeah. Happy birthday to the guys.
Good brunch?
Yeah, it was good. It was good. It was a little rough after the toy drive. So
yeah.
I will say. But, man, it came down to the wire. I had to leave the room because I knew we had that in. And where – look, I literally drafted up a parlay that would have whacked Twan won our bet, so I owe him a $25 parlay this week, but it just isn't sitting right with me. Buddy, what was that, your first one?
Buddy, shoot a McGavin over here.
Pew,
legit,
pew, pew. Legit. But no, it was fun the way it worked out, and I hope you at least have some success with the bet that I ended up putting in.
Me too, man. Me too.
But Stafford going against the Jets. I mean, I know that it's a tough defensive matchup. Maybe it's a huge Kyron week, but even though Kupp had 0 last week, I don't think he's going to be the guy in this matchup. It's going to be Nakua, Kyron, or bust. Like that's just really what it is. And Kupp isn't in the rankings. Would you consider sitting Kupp? Like, I know it depends on the options that you have, but you can't afford another dud. You can't
can't.
even afford 5 from a wide receiver.
And that's the thing is, like, what's good to see, though, about Sean McVay is, like, Kevin O'Connell leaves, and they're still able to drop plays for the guy they want to give plays to. The thing is, the guy they want to give the play to is Puka, and it's not Cooper Kupp right now. And that's what we're seeing that's different than Cooper Kupp's generational season.
Could potentially still be traded in the offseason, too, with the way this offense is looking right now.
And they can literally get the ball to Demarcus Robinson and Tutu Atwell, and, like, they'll be successful. So
Absolutely. At 10, I do have Kyler Murray here. I think he has to have a comeback game versus Carolina. I do think that this is going to be a lot closer than what people, are kind of giving them credit for.
I can't believe Carolina got whacked by the Cowboys.
Because they were favorited, bro.
I know.
That's exactly why. It was crazy, but I do think that Dallas is playing better than what people kind of gave them credit for with Cooper Rush, and you're going to hear that when we talk about CeeDee Lamb because he's kind of sneakily been performing a lot better than what anyone has really gave him credit for. When everyone thought he was kind of going to slide, I know the first couple of weeks were a little bit rocky, but past couple of weeks he's been absolutely balling. At 9, I do have Jaden Daniels. I think Philly's defense is the hardest defense in the entire NFL right now. Hands down. Tough to run against them. Tough to throw the ball. I think Jaden's going to have to move a lot with his feet. I know this is an all-or-nothing game for both of these teams. The Eagles can lock up, a potential 1 seed if the Lions were to continue to have some complications down the stretch. But Washington still through technicalities can be on top of the NFC East. So this means everything for them right now. At 8, I do have Tua going against San Francisco. I think that's a really good game. I know that they have strong linebacking core, and after the whole Devondre Campbell scenario, I think that there's going to be a little bit of added motivation on that side of the ball. Fred Warner plays extremely well, and Dre Greenlaw looked good in his first game back. But I think Tua's just kind of been dicing, so I have to give him credit.
He ain't having another 4-pick game, bro. He ain't doing that again.
Houston, he's back in Miami, so obviously, being indoors, and you always want to give him a little bit of an extra added boost with them being home. And 7, I got Jordan Love against New Orleans. New Orleans has played better than I thought that they were going to kind of down the stretch, but this is Packers on the second half of the season. I know that they pretty much have a playoff spot clinched, but I think you still kind of want to go out there and say, like, hey, this is a team that shouldn't give us any problems.
So New Orleans starts that kid, and you think it's more of just like we want to see what we have with this guy? Because I honestly had always thought, like, my thought was just like, dude, you drafted Rattler. Like, I get that he had some moments that
they were
great,
both rookies. I think, like, the small stint that he had before they went to Rattler earlier in the season on Carr's first injury, he didn't look, like, terrible. And Rattler, when he left and they ended up putting in, the other quarterback or going back to Carr, whatever the scenario was, he actually did look terrible. Mm-hmm. So I think it's just kind of figuring out, hey, like, what rookie do we have on the roster right now that we want to move forward with next year? Like, the other one I kind of felt like could just be like a cut candidate because this is likely going to be a team that's going to draft a quarterback, and it might not even be like a first-round guy.
It really might, but, like, they might have a guy fall to them. Because what do they draft at 5? They're going to draft a 5, 6, 7.
I mean, it depends on how the next couple games go, but like they should be a team drafting in the top 10.
They smell like Carson Beck to me. Because I think he's going to be the guy that falls.
He still might not declare. Quinn might not declare with the way things have really worked out for him.
He might want to win I think Quinn's going to be forced to declare or go somewhere else because they're ready for Archie.
Well, I mean, there's already NIL money being tossed at him if he decides to stay in college next year, especially after all the UNC news. I mean, if Bill Belichick was to go get a guy like that, I mean,
bro, if UNC had Quinn, dude, I'm taking UNC's over on wins. It's like 5.5.
I know
you fucking loaded.
You had said that, but with you bringing up that Saints scenario, I feel like the better part of the question, rather than the draft, is like, I know the Saints are in a fucking casualty. Yeah, absolutely. But Sam Darnold isn't going to be back with the Vikings next year. I just can't imagine what the whole.
You don't
scenario.
think they go like that? The team goes over to Kevin O'Connell and like Kevin O'Connell kind of knows, and they go, "Dude, we want him as our quarterback."
I mean, as long as they're comfortable with JJ being in the Jordan Love scenario, then I think that they can. But if JJ was healthy, I firmly believe that he was going to get the starting gig. So you never would have knew that this was going to go down with Sam Darnold.
I think so too, but I think that this is one of those things where Sam Darnold has way outplayed what they needed him to do. And now they're in a position where, like, they are I'll tell you right now, they're a real candidate for the Super Bowl. They're not. I don't think they're pretenders. Dude, I don't think they're pretenders, bro. Listen, I think there are teams that are better than them. I think the Eagles are a little bit better. I think they can lose to the Packers. I think they'll lose to the Lions. But they're that good that they can beat any of those teams. They're not a Panthers that won't beat them at all. Like,
I think they could lose to Washington in a first-round playoff game.
I don't think they would. I like this Vikings team, man. I think they're good.
Dude, last time everyone was high on this, they lost the fucking Giants in the playoffs, bro.
They didn't Kevin O'Connell it, though. Kevin O'Connell is fucking... Did they have Kevin O'Connell at that point?
I think they did, dude. I think that was his first year.
First year?
Because I think that was Cousins last year, wasn't it?
Yeah. Yeah. But, dude, I feel real good about what Kevin O'Connell's doing with this team.
No, it wasn't.
If they're that close, if they're sitting with like an 11-2 record and they're this close with Darnold, they can go, dude, let's just sign Darnold. We have our guy. We can look at other pieces. And if things don't work out with Darnold, then we have JJ on the back. But at least franchise tag.
So something else like that I think we should bring into this conversation, because it's always, considered when it comes to like moves in free agency and just shaping a roster. Could get a hell of a compensation pick for Sam Darnold too if you let him walk. Something to think, dude. Imagine getting an extra second or third round pick just because you paid that guy $8 million this year and he threw for 3,500 yards and 20 touchdowns.
I know, but like,
if you
but
drafted,
then you look and you're like, dude, like, what else are we want to get out of JJ McCarthy? Because we're hoping he plays like Sam Darnold. Well, you have him.
But the whole reason why you drafted JJ McCarthy is to have him play like Sam Darnold for the dollar amount that you drafted him for. And you get that for another 4 years. Where Sam Darnold, you don't get the compensation pick, so that's one less draft pick, and you're dishing $50 million, because that's what it's going to be.
You think he's going to get 50?
Bro, if Jalen Hurts or Burrow or these guys are going to get $65 million, he's going to get at least 50, bro.
I get that, but I don't know that I'm going to see. My issue is they have the guy right now that's working for them. And not only working, playing super well. And it's just hard to sit there and say, dude, we are in a position where we're a top 10 team in the NFL. We're a top 8 team in the NFL, debatably top 5 right now. And we might let one of the guys that have helped get us there walk. That's such a hard conversation to have with your front office.
But that's what successful organizations do. They make hard decisions. But I will entertain the franchise tag conversation because I think that could be smart.
Huge.
The reason why I say that could be smart is you could still franchise tag him and trade him in the middle of the year if you decide JJ's the guy or whatever the case may be.
And JJ might not be fully healthy, fully ready to go at the start of next year.
He should be, dude.
But, like, what if you see him practicing and the injury actually changed him a little bit?
Potentially.
And you have your safety valve is like, yeah, you franchise tag him. You have this guy who can now sit and learn. And not only sit and learn, he can physically practice because he's physically healthy for it.
I just kind of think that's the reason why you brought in Daniel Jones. Like, why do you bring in Daniel Jones if that's not the case?
That's the other thing is they did bring in Daniel Jones like that. I want to see Darnold get paid. I want to see him I love this resurgence in his career. Love to see it. But, like, I look at the Vikings right now, and it's to me one of those things where I feel like they got their guy. I feel like he is a perfect guy for that system.
Even a team like Tennessee, like how does Tennessee not toss 3 years, $150 million at a guy like Sam Darnold?
I know. Well, that's where you have to have the conversation with Sam Darnold, where you're like, dude, like these guys are throwing it at you, but like, how about you stick around for another 2 years? You're the guy right now.
Dude, I don't know if I can give him $100 million with the way that they're trying to build their roster. I think, dude, you can break it down like this, right? Would you rather have Sam Darnold for 2 more years and then have to try and flip the page to JJ? Or would you rather put full 100% belief that JJ was the guy that you drafted him to be with the quarterback whisperer and KOC and fucking finally go get some defensive studs?
I know, and I know whoever you put in that quarterback room, like KOC is gonna make him throw the ball fine, but like,
bro, he did it with fucking Josh Dobbs.
I know he did it with Josh Dobbs, but also like
Nick Mullins. Come on,
but those guys still had their like bad games where it's like Darnold's like, sure, he's had a couple of tough ones, but there's never a point where like I'm looking at Sam Darnold as the reason why this Vikings team's looking bad.
If you want me to be honest though, I think if you give the Vikings team, I don't even want to say like a better ground game because like their ground game is probably top 15 in the league. But do I think like they could get a home run hitter. I do, and I think that could change the offense from the first half of the game yesterday. They literally passed the ball 33 times and ran it 11. That's not healthy if you want to contend for a championship. They
need a committee back there. They need listen, if you want to keep Aaron Jones, that's great. You're paying him less, and you're having him go out there for third downs, and you're bringing in a bell cow to run on 1 and 2.
I like AJ as a 1 and 2 guy. It's just the injury concerns, and I just think if you can find a Sonic and Knuckles-esque split, which is very sad that we're not going to be talking about the both of them in the rankings this week, which we probably should get back to.
Honestly, I'm still putting fucking Montgomery in the rankings somehow.
Did you wrap up the quarterbacks?
I didn't even start them. So we're gonna go with 12. We're gonna go with the GOAT, Sam Darnold, Minnesota's future.
Yeah, right.
11, I'm going Kyler Murray.
A little low.
Yeah, but
coming off of an 11-point performance he hasn't had.
I know which game is the Vikings going to lose. I know. That's such a good conversation. I can't wait to have that conversation in the offseason. We'll keep it going. Can we do a poll? What should the Vikings do? I feel like we should do a poll.
Yeah, we could do an episode just on that.
Down. So down. 11, I got Kyler Murray. I think he's going to play really well this week. 9 and 10, I got Tua at 9, Purdy at 10. I do think the Dolphins are going to edge this out, so I'm going to put Tua above him, but I am going to put Purdy in the rankings. I think that Purdy can have a pretty decent game this week. 8, I got Goff. I think they're going to look to sling a little bit.
No Goff.
Wow. And 7, I got Jordan Love.
Wow, Jordan Love at the same spot. 6, I have Lamar.
Okay.
So I know it's a little bit lower than where we typically have him.
Cover your ears, Ant.
Going against Pittsburgh, bro, statistically, just speaking through his career, he's had some struggles going against that team. 5, I do have Sam Darnold. Seattle's been really stingy. Their defensive backs have been playing well. The defense has been a little bit more healthier, which has proved to be a lot more effective, efficient, and successful. Coming off of a really tough game, I know that they're going to be hungry. Seattle's not a fun place to play, and I could totally see the Vikings needing to lose a game and drop this one coming off of the highest highs that they possibly could have. 4, I got Baker. Dude, Dallas doesn't win in Dallas. Coming off of a win against Carolina, Baker's going to light it up. I think it could be a big on game. You didn't hear him in the rankings, but Mike Evans literally needs 87 yards per game to get 1,000 yards.
He's going to get it, dude.
He has to get it.
We said we have to keep taking the 100 yards line.
You whacked on that.
Whacked it, dude.
Yeah.
So, dude, me and Matt were sitting there geeking watching that, I bet.
I wish my week worked out differently because I totally would have too. At 3, I got Burrow going against Cleveland. He should continue to light it up. 2, I got Hurts against Washington. Can't see how that defense finds ways to slow him down. They're going to win any way that they want to win.
You think?
Yeah, bro. I think it's going to be a great game, and I think Washington can actually beat them. I just think this game is going to be a lot easier for Hurts to have success than Daniels because of the way the defenses
are.
Totally agree. And won the MVP, Joshy boy.
You know something? Lamar did his best to make everyone forget about the fact that Josh Allen got 6 touchdowns the week before with his performance this week. And then Josh Allen did his thing yet again.
I know. And, dude, it's crazy. People bring up, the numbers about, comparing Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen. And Lamar legit still has better numbers in all the categories. But I just think it comes down to, moments in if any other quarterback was the quarterback for the Bills right now, they might be a 3-win football team. I still think the Ravens are a sound enough organization that I'm not saying you can put anyone in there, but if you just remove the quarterback from the scenario, they're a much better team than Buffalo is.
Flacco wins them 8.
It'd be a conversation.
It would be a conversation. You leave Joe alone. 6, I got Jalen Hurts. I actually think it's going to be a little bit trickier this week.
Wow.
5, right above him, I have Jaden Daniels. I just think we're going to see a lot of Jaden Daniels' legs this week, and I think that I'm really eyeing Commanders for an upset this week. I don't know if I'm taking it yet, but I got my eye all over it. I want to see what's going on in that week, and I think that Jaden Daniels, like you said as well, can use his legs to be successful. 4, I got Baker. Give him the ball, let him sling. He might have 2 picks, but he might have 6 touchdowns this week. 3, I got Joe Burrow. 2, I got Lamar Jackson, and 1, I got the MVP.
Absolutely. Running backs. 20.
ETN.
Nope.
Fuck. He's back. He's so back.
He did look more promising. This one is definitely going to be questionable. But the last 5 weeks, he still continues to put double-digit performances up. Left last week a little bit banged up, but scored his first touchdown in over 8 weeks. Alvin Kamara. I know the Packers are a pretty stout defense. I just think, like, it's the fantasy playoffs. You kind of have to, like, ride, like, your studs at this point. Like, don't contradict yourself. Don't think, like, too much about it. Kamara's in the receiving game. He's in the ground game and definitely effective. 19, lower than where I probably had him a majority of the weeks this season. But Brian Robinson, definitely think it's a little bit more of a tougher matchup going against Philly. Do I think, like, he can pound in a 6-yard rushing touchdown? Yeah, but do I think he's running for 100? Not at all.
I agree.
At 18, I got Pollard, another guy who should have a pretty stout game this week. Think they're going against Indy. Like that matchup for him. 17, I got Garendo going against Miami. He's proven to be, a focal point of that offense. Thursday Night Football last week with the monsoon that they played in, I'm literally not taking, like, any perspective from last week for either of those teams into consideration for this week, just because the weather completely, I don't want to say ruined, but impacted the way that the performance of that game went.
It ruined the game, dude.
Yeah.
That game sucked balls.
Absolutely sucked. I'm happy I played some Fortnite instead. It's been a little bit, so you never got on before, did you?
Bro, I can't. I'm too busy crushing Easter eggs and Cobb. Just beat the new Easter egg,
Nice.
dog.
16, I got Rico Dowdle. He's been playing, very, very hot football. Not enough to be in the top 10, though. It's still Rico Dowdle.
Dude, running backs this year are better than receivers. It's harder to break in the top 10 of running back.
Absolutely. 15, I got Aaron Jones. Solid performance. I think an end zone trip can save him. Don't think it's a 100-yard day for him. 14, Chuba. Definitely got up from that 20 positioning. I think I had it 3 weeks in a row at the 20 spot. He's earned his way back up a little bit. Absolutely.
Let's go.
13, I got Kyron. Like I said, I think Kyron and Nakua are going to have to pave the way for the Rams this week. 12, I got Bucky. Bucky's going to be back healthy this week, going to have a huge performance, above 85 scrimmage yards, no doubt. And 11, I got Joe Mixon, a little bit lower than where we've had Mixon, but last couple of weeks have been a struggle for him. I'm not going to lie, and I think the rankings have to reflect that.
Okay.
You disagree?
No, I snubbed him.
No, you snubbed Joe Mixon?
Don't know how that happened, but...
Bro, fix that shit.
20, Joe. No,
yeah.
20, I'm going ETN. I just think he's...
Bro, you have ETN in the list about fucking Joe Mixon.
That's not how it's actually supposed to go. It's just a fatal flaw on my part right now. Fatal flaw. I'll tell you, where's Joe Mixon on this list? 9.
Okay.
But I'm not taking 9 out. He just would be a 9. You know what I mean?
No.
We'll figure it out.
It's the fantasy playoffs, one. You can't tell anybody to fade
Listen,
a top 4 guy at the position.
We got 21 running backs in the ranking this week. I'm telling you. Nasty stuff.
So ETN's 21.
Yes, ETN's 21. Which would make Gorendo 20 or 19. Tracy 18. You know what? Fuck Tracy, dude.
Yeah.
Tracy scram.
Buddy
scram.
What?
Dude.
Tracy over Mixon? That is
Listen,
bonkers.
it's not over Mixon. Mixon got forgotten about. That's all it was.
How? How can you remember Tracy and ETN but forget Joe Mixon?
Dude, because I ain't watching a Kansas City football game.
Oh, my God. You are. There's only 2 games on, and that's the only one at that time.
Dude, I'm literally watching SMU versus Penn State.
No. There's going to be some points scored in that one, though.
There will be. That'll be a good one.
I think that'll be a better game than the Ohio State game. I really do.
You do? You think Ohio State's going to be a stinker?
I just don't. I think the defenses are going to shine in that one. So, like, I think Tennessee's any game that Tennessee has been competitive in has been a game that scored less than 24 points for both teams.
I really think this is going to be one of those games between 2 really good. I get the defenses are good. You might see defensive touchdowns to actually put the points on the board.
The only thing that, like, makes it real iffy about, like, college football is, like, you go to overtime and, like, any over-under prop is just ruined. That's why I never take them in college.
The whole thing, dude. The whole thing's ruined. You go to 12 overtimes.
Yeah, crazy.
19, I had Guarendo. 18, Mixon. Fuck it. 17, Brian Robinson. So I agree. I actually think it's going to be a little bit of a tough sledding. 16, same number. I had Rico Dowdle. 15, I have Rashad White. I think he's still going to get involved. They're playing a Dallas team. He'll do fine. 14, I got Tony Pollard.
He'll do fine.
He'll do fine.
But Joe Mixon, 18.
Bro.
And you're still going to have Bucky in the top 10.
That ass KC's like the best team against the run.
No, I mean, dude, against the run and, like, number 1 wide receivers really don't perform well against them. Mm-hmm. I'm waiting. I want to see how many off seasons it's going to take for a team to figure out, like, hey, this is what we need to do to beat this team.
I know. You know who could have figured it out? But now he's,
Buddy.
UNC next year is whooping Casey.
My God, no way. Maybe the Raiders, though.
13, I got Sharp or Ken, whichever one's playing. I don't know, but if it's Kenneth Walker, I feel this better about being 13. If it's Charbonnet, it may have to go higher.
Don't have either of them.
12, I'm going Bucky, so I don't have him in the top 10, but I got him here at 12. Not too far from Rashad White. I think both guys are going to be active and involved against a Dallas defense that still sucks against the run. And 11, Chuba Hubbard. Love this guy.
Yeah, he's playing well. 10, Chase Brown. Hope he's in your top 10.
Of course he is.
I just making sure you're not forgetting.
Can't forget both guys.
Yeah.
One a week.
9, I do have Connor. It's a favorable matchup. He gets the volume. Do I think he's going to have 100 yards and a touchdown? No. Could he have one of the two? Absolutely. Mm-hmm. Not both. Not 2 weeks in a row.
No.
At 8, I have James Cook. He did have a huge performance against the Lions. This week will be very interesting going against New England. But it's just like, dude, Ty Johnson and Ray Davis are like both really involved right now. So it's really tough to just rely on, Cook. Like a guy like Jacobs is Josh Jacobs absolutely, a more reliable option right now than a James Cook.
Yep.
7, look, there's going to be a lot of people salty about this. If you didn't have him in your rankings because of what happened last week, I would understand. You do still have to trust JT, though. Jonathan Taylor here at 7.
I got him at 7.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. He got the 41-yard touchdown, and he fucking threw it away.
Bro, I don't understand how, players do that, because it happens more. It probably happens, 5 times a year. Whether it's offense or defense, long touchdowns.
Forrest Gump the shit if you need to. Run all the way into the parking lot to make sure you have the fucking touchdown. Don't throw the fucking ball away when you're in a game that you are. I think that the rushing touchdown would have taken the lead again against Denver, and it sets a whole new precedent.
Yeah, and changes the playoff potential. Absolutely.
100%.
6, I do have D-Hen. A little bit lower, but I think he can have a better performance than he did last time. I think he gets in the end zone versus Pittsburgh. Don't know if it's a 100-yard day unless TJ Watt's banged up, and that's a huge implication there. 4, I have Gibbs, but this is where I had to put him. But I feel like everyone is going to be on Gibbs right now, and I feel a little bit iffy about it. He's absolutely deserving and can handle a one load. But it's just tough to put that full reliance on him.
This is where he came out last year, though.
No, it is. It's a bad beat for Monty too, because I don't know how healthy he comes into next year, or how much they continue to restrict Gibbs with this whole scenario.
Is Monty out for the season?
Yeah,
it's for the season.
MCL.
Yeah, but is it a tear or is it a sprain? Because sprains, dude, you can just come back in 6 weeks.
No, I know, but
if they're going for a
we
Super
would
Bowl,
know that, bro.
Monty's looking at Dan Campbell. If they're going for a Super Bowl, he's going, get me in the fucking game.
I think Hutchinson and a Carlton Davis look a lot more favorable to come in for a Super Bowl than those guys. I actually just think there's too much to overcome for Detroit to get there. I really do.
You think too much this year?
Yeah, I think if they were to ever draw Green Bay or Minnesota in either of the rounds prior to the NFC Championship, that they wouldn't make it through. That's how I feel.
I feel so bad about it because them healthy are the best team in the NFL.
Yeah, it's gonna be tough because you want to say that next year is gonna be the year, but both Minnesota and Green Bay are going to be better teams next year, and it's just
at some point Chicago's got to get a little bit better.
Yeah, so I'm not saying the Lions are going to be the 4th seed here, but it's just a lot more tougher of a route. 3, I have Achane. I think Achane balls this week. Absolutely goes ape shit. I think he has the receiving yards. If his receiving line is -1 something for 25 yards again, fucking hammer it. Please make some money on it because I'm running out of funds to hammer it. 2, I got Jacobs. He might, besides Josh Allen, he might be the hottest player in all of fantasy football right now. And 1, it's just tough to not put Bijan at 1 for next week.
Sure. Did you snub Saquon?
Bro, I skipped him. Barkley is 5.
Okay.
Saquon, yeah.
I was I almost had you back.
No, bro, I don't know what it is. I'm literally reading down a list. I just always skip one. No,
you know what it is? I interrupt you when you get to a random number. And
I do. Because I'm just all right, let's get back on track. No, but Saquon is 5. Saquon obviously has to be in this rankings. Sure. I hope Danielle doesn't get me a Saquon Eagles jersey, even though it's a sick jersey.
That's such a gag gift. Dude.
Yeah.
That's so funny. Well, if you end up, before you light it on fire, I'll take it.
I would never light a Saquon jersey on fire. I actually don't think I would ever light any jersey on fire. Bro, when I look at them,
I do still have my Kyrie jersey.
Bro, I legit have a Browns Brady Quinn jersey. Like, having that now is just kind of like, bro.
Yeah, but that's not like.
No, I understand, but I'm like, dude, thinking back to it, like, there was a point in time where I wanted a Brown Brady Quinn jersey.
I know. Like, Ray Lewis killed a guy, and I wouldn't fucking burn his jersey.
So
Hernandez, maybe.
Yeah. My God.
Maybe. Kyron Williams at 10.
Okay.
I think, what'd you have him, like 12, 13? So I agree. It's not going to be, his best week, but he'll be productive. 9, I got James Conner, exact same spot you had him. He's not getting in 2 touchdowns, but he'll have a good week this week. 8, I got Derrick Henry. I feel like they may struggle a little bit here against Pitt, especially running the football. But
punch it in, though.
His opportunity is better than it was somehow against the Giants because they only ran the ball, 13 times with them?
Bro, I would have never – if you told me that they would – what do they have, 4 passing touchdowns? Bateman caught 2, 5. Justice Hill. Yeah, crazy. Yeah. Absolutely wild. Would have never thought. You could beat the Giants any way you want, but Lamar decided it. All in the air.
Yep. Just fucking beat him. 7, I got Jonathan Taylor. Same spot you had him. 6, I got Chase Brown here. I think he's going to have a big week. And I just think he's
another
been playing,
hot player in fantasy right now.
Red hot right now. 5, Saquon. Same exact spot you had him. 4 is where I have Josh Jacobs. This guy's been balling. I'm going to give him his flowers here at 4. 3, I got Devon Achane. 2, I got Bijan. 1.
Josh Jacobs.
I believe. No, he's my 4.
Okay.
I believe in Jahmyr Gibbs.
Do you?
I believe in him to be, like, his ability to take the workload. And I believe in their ability to pass the ball enough where Goff's going to find his check down. It's going to be him and Laporta.
I think with Monty out, we're going to see a huge uptick for both Laporta and Amon-Ra. Mm-hmm. I think those will be the big beneficiaries. Not that Gibbs won't, but I mean he's definitely going to get 20 touches a game.
This is dead ass the Amon-Ra week where you take the Amon-Ra's over on catches, 100+ yards, and the touchdown.
Absolutely.
This is the one. That's the Mike Evans from last week.
Yeah.
It's Amon-Ra.
Let's go over to the wide receivers. On the back end here, 20, 21, 22, similar to like the tight end scenario. Have 3 guys here I feel like who you should really still kind of consider, but really tough to decide. I still have Addison, D-Hop, and Jaden Reed. Jaden Reed is just so tough because I feel like the Saints defense has been a little bit more stingy, but Reed is kind of due for a game after being quiet the last couple. D-Hop going against Houston, I know you really, really want to take that. But you got to see what the injury report is on Mahomes. And, like, Addison has been balling. And it's like, well, are you going to decide JJ or are you going to decide otherwise? And it's just Addison kind of seems to still kind of get 5 catches and 50 yards at a minimum, regardless of whatever they choose to do.
Dude, he's so good. They have such a good 1-2 punch over there.
Definitely do. 19, I got MHA. I think MHA catches a touchdown this week. Should be a good game for him. 18, I have AJ, and 17, I have Devonta. I think Devonta is going to see a crazy uptick in workload and targets. I know that AJ just complained, got fed, and everyone was happy now, but I do think that injury is going to linger a little bit. Ankles are tricky, dude, and like for the type of receiver that he is, I just feel like, bro, that's going to be like a big part of it. And Devonta is just as good. So it's like,
dude,
I think
he literally is.
Yeah, I think AJ will be out there. But do I think like it could linger a little bit? Absolutely do. I do. 16, I got Keenan Allen, who absolutely cucked me out of one league last night. But Keenan Allen I feel like he's the receiver to have. It was so fucking strange, dude. The Browns want to hand the ball off to like more in like the backfield like that, and then they had like 7-8 plays that would have absolutely changed the game that they couldn't rush for a single yard last night, and then they get the 1-yard touchdown, and then that poor left tackle, that rookie left tackle last night, don't even remember his name, don't want to botch it, but boy did he struggle, had so many flags, absolutely crazy. 15, I do have Pickens. Think he should be healthy enough to play this week, will be an absolute difference maker in a game versus the Ravens. 14, I have Jawan Jennings. He should get back to his normal tendencies. I know that Miami is a little stingy against the passing game, but it just seems like every single game that he's successful, he has like 2, 3, 25+ yard catches in the middle of the field that he just has like a shit ton of yak yards after. Mm-hmm. 13, I have Shakir. I think you need to dial up Shakir. What did he have? A rushing touchdown last week? Absolutely crazy. I love the way that they're working him in. And, bro, another guy that is in the backfield taking away touches from James Cook. So just goes to show you. But would love to see Buffalo really try and get Amari Cooper on board because it just doesn't seem like it's working out. But I'm like, Diggs didn't work out. You have another top talent wide receiver who has caught 1,000 yards continuously and like, it's not working out for him. I told you it was going to be addition by subtraction in the offseason about the Bills, and they didn't even need to get an Amari. They just kind of got it as an insurance policy.
Yep.
And hopefully, there's a
I think they're saving them for playoffs.
Yeah?
I think they're going to fucking,
Let
you ain't seen nothing yet.
Yeah.
And then boom.
Maybe.
He'll have one of those games in the playoffs that wins them. He might have the game against the Chiefs that wins the Bills the playoff game to get to the dance.
But, dude, maybe just, Josh isn't the guy that, wants that, that tunnel vision or, that focus. If he just continues playing the way he does and just playing free, and he doesn't have to hear all that yapping, he might be that might be part of the reason why he's playing better,
I agree. I don't think Amari will ever be the one to yap, but if there is a situation where you're playing a tough team and you are having a struggle moving the ball and you're like, all right, dude, I have a guy that I know can get open if we design this play right.
Mac Hollins.
That's deadass. That's the kind of thing that you need Amari for. So when the going gets tough, that's when I expect Amari to go, and I think that's going to be playoffs.
Yeah, and let's say Buffalo and Kansas City were to play each other again, right? It's absolutely crucial knowing that McDuffie would probably stay on Cooper. So that would mean all the more field open for Shakir.
Yep.
So that's also another way to look at it. 12, I have JSN. He is the wide receiver to have in the rankings. No DK in the rankings.
Okay.
And 11, I have Judy. This was a questionable scenario. I still don't feel that great about it, if you want me to be honest.
Just because DTR.
If something was to happen and Jameis was able to get, I'd feel confident if you want to say that he was a top 10 play this week. That quarterback change is going to make a difference on how they call the game, what they call the routes that he runs in the plays that they're successful at. But with DTR and Joku's the guy to fire up in that pass offense.
Totally
Definitely
agree.
feel a little bit more wary about Judy.
So 20, I get a different Bears receiver. I'm going to Dunze in here. I think that Caleb is trying to find a Dunze, and I think a Dunze does a good job of getting open. They're just having a tough time connecting. But I think that this week they're going to make a focus to try and get the ball to a Dunze, so I'm going to put a Dunze in here. 19, I have Jerry Jeudy. I feel the same way. It's just DTR makes it a little bit tricky, but the way Judy's been playing this year, he'll get open at some point. We'll see if DTR can get him the ball. Khalil Shakir, I have at 18. Think he's played really good this year. A little low, but I liked a lot of the wide receivers this week, and you're going to go crazy when you find out who I have in one spot beneath, but this dude's been balling. He's a rookie. Who do you think it is?
A rookie? Not Keon Coleman.
This dude's been balling. Past 2 weeks, he's been balling.
Yeah, it's spill the beans.
Jalen McMillan.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I don't blame you. He has been.
He's playing that Godwin role right now, and he's actually going to be the guy that's. Listen, I know Mike can beat you downfield, but Jalen McMillan can get some speed going too. So love what I've seen out of him. 16. I think the receiver this week is going to be Christian Watson.
Yeah.
Yeah, you gotta put one of the Packers guys in. I'm sitting Jaden Reed. I'm very well aware that he could have a big game. I can't rely on him to win.
It's 30 or 5.
Dude, I can't. Yeah, I genuinely can't rely on him to win the playoffs. So my wide receiver 2 will be Khalil Shakir. I'm gonna go Watson at 16 though, because I do think Jordan Love can find Watson and get him going. And listen, even when Jordan Love doesn't throw the ball to Watson, there are plays where Jordan Love will take a check down instead because it's just easier for him to get the ball out there. But Watson's getting a little bit of separation downfield at the same time. So yeah. I like what he's been doing.
Well.
15, I got JSN. I think he's gonna have a good week. I don't think he's the guy this week though, so stay tuned for where DK is. 14, BTJ. He's doing it on Sauce. He's doing it on DJ Reed. Yeah. I get that Mac Jones is throwing him the ball, but this guy gets open, and if they're on the goal line, they're struggling to punch it in. They're just gonna fucking dink it off to Brian Thomas.
I mean, on the back end of the rankings, if you wanted to play a BTJ over an MHJ, Addison, D-Hop, or Reed, I totally get it, and he's been a lot more consistent. It's just really tough. When you break down the quarterback scenarios, I'll take all of those quarterbacks over Mac Jones all day.
I get it. I just think he's that kind of talent though. 13, Devontae Adams. Coming off a big week. I look for Aaron Rodgers to continue to get him the ball. He's going to be the wide receiver on that offense, it looks like right now. 12, I got Malik Neighbors. Dude, I don't like the ability for them to pass the ball, but Malik's able to get open, and they are going to throw him the sideline ball 6 times, and he's going to tap his toes and get the catches. So that's what I'm expecting here.
I hope whoever we get next year feeds this man the ball. I want him to have 150 catches next year.
He damn well might, depending on who you draft.
Yeah.
You got the 1 pick, pretty much.
Might have 2, bro.
So you're going to be looking at Shador
or
you're
Cam Ward.
Yeah.
And I'm not opposed to either. We need to play, this all needs to play out a little bit more, but It's too early to begin. It's all that.
We got that whole listen. We've done a
Let's
lot
enjoy.
of off-roading on that.
Let's
on
enjoy.
this episode
Let's
too.
enjoy.
11 to finish it off. It's either AJ or Devonta. I feel pretty good with either guy this week.
Make a choice, bro.
I'm leading Devonta. I like him better. He's less of a bitch and a coward to me. And AJ's just a little bit more banged up.
Oh my god. At 10, I'm gonna ride.
That's right. I'm calling out fucking AJ. Misfits Boxing. Don't be a bitch.
At 10, I am riding the Devontae Adams heat train with you, so I have him here at 10. And 9, I do have T. Higgins. Honestly, there's enough from in that passing game for both T. Higgins and Chase the ball. You should know where Chase is going to be in the rankings.
Come on.
At 8, I do have Nico Collins. I expect him to be a little bit more involved in the passing game. 2 touchdowns is absolutely huge and a guy you want to look to in the red zone. But let's have some more plays to get up the field, or let's have some more of those big plays that we saw earlier in the season. 7, tough matchup. Still going to ride Nakua here. I think he's just kind of been matchup proof, if you want me to be honest. And Stafford's found him. He's force-fed him the ball, no matter who's covering him. 6, right above him, I do have London, though. I think Drake London did heat up a little bit last night, had above 50 yards, had a touchdown, a little bit better of what you would kind of like to see. Fantasy playoffs, Kirk Cousins got to get right.
No Drake London.
It's okay. I get it.
I don't trust Kirk.
I get it. It's the same reason for BTJ.
Mm-hmm.
5, I have Amon-Ra. Absolutely feel you. 4, I have JJ. 3, Mike Evans. Have to have Mike Evans in that top 5. 2, CD Lamb. Full confidence back in CD Lamb.
I like it.
And 1, King Chase. Triple crown.
Did we not say that it would be the receiving yards leader this
they're
year?
Gonna hear it. They're gonna hear it.
That's it. We'll do a whole episode at the end of the season just bragging about the takes. San Fran sucking balls.
Yeah.
Whole thing. 10, I got Terry. I love the way Terry McLaurin's playing some football here. Did you skip him?
Bro, do I not have... Yeah, I don't have Terry McLaurin in the
All right, buddy. Come on. No. Rah, rah, rah.
Hey, but I think that's more of like a matchup thing than anything else,
for
if you
Eagles.
want to be honest. Yeah,
it is a tough matchup.
Yeah, that's real stingy. But McLaurin, no matter what, has continued to ball. So
Yo,
that's a slap on the wrist for me, absolutely. He's a top 20 play, and I'm playing him in multiple leagues this week. I would definitely have him in the rankings over some of the guys in the back end, but
he's on our player rankings this year. He's a lock for it.
Yeah, it wasn't a lock to be in the top 10 this week going against that matchup.
It is. That matchup is a really tough one, but they want success in the air. Terry's got to be the guy to do it. And, dude, honestly,
he's the only guy.
If you throw it and it's him, dude, the catch he made in double coverage in the end zone after getting
Ridiculous.
hit, nuts.
Ridiculous.
Dude, this guy makes any contested catch
Back
you
up
want.
the brink, make sure he's here. They haven't been able to say that for a lot of Washington Commanders. He's a guy that he's going to be a career Washington player.
Bro, and he through thick and thin is just perfect.
Love it.
Perfect football player.
Love it. Shout out to Terry.
Shout out to Terry. Big fans on the channel here. 9, T. Higgins. Think they can both
Same
absolutely
spot.
eat this week. So same exact spot. 8, DK Metcalf is catching a 40 to 50-yard touchdown this game. I'm telling you. He's going to have his patented big touchdown this game at one point. I think that's going to get him over the edge. 7, Amon-Ra St. Brown. I think Amon-Ra has a great day. I think he goes off, but I got Nico above him here at 6. I think Nico's going to have a good day. CeeDee Lamb here at 5. Think he's been balling. 4, I got Puka. 3, I got Jettas. 2, I got Mike Evans. And 1,
Jamar Chase.
All
right, well, I mean, I know that 7 spot was a little bit low in my opinion, but I guess with the way that all really works out, I don't have too many complaints there.
Dude, you look at 7 to 1. I'm talking 7 all the way to Jamar Chase.
Yeah.
Those numbers are so interchangeable right now.
Absolutely. But since the Sandbox fans, thank you so much for contributing to our toy drive. By far, hands down, the best toy drive or drive in general that we've done. We had a great night Saturday night. Able to help a lot of kids on Christmas this year. Able to have a great time and just bring people together, and that's really what it's all about. So looking to do it bigger and better next year. Most importantly, best of luck in your fantasy matchups. You want to make sure you get to the championship, be in the money, be able to talk some shit. I think this is the toughest week because I hate being, tremendously competitive on Christmas. You have games on Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, Saturday games, Sunday games. I don't even know if there's Thursday night football, Christmas week next week, or Monday night football, with it being towards the back end of the season. We're definitely going to have to fact check that. But win this week. figure out what the person that you're going to be, really breaking down the deals with about money. Solidify a spot for yourself, and make sure you guys come back next year for all the fantasy football rankings and content to make sure you guys are getting the best. Get it, Twan.
12-19, there is a game, but that's this week. That's the Broncos-Chargers one.
Yeah. So next week would be the 20th?
Oh, there is.
Yeah.
So there's 2 Christmas Day games, and then there's 1 Thursday game. It's Seahawks versus Bears.
Okay.
Then we have 3 on Saturday, and the rest are on Sunday.
Nothing on Monday.
Oh, it's all over the place. No, there's 1 on Monday.
Oh, wow.
Dude, they're all over the place.
Let's go. Great week of football
next week. Let's go, dude. Gambling every night.
All right. Well, that's why you got to win this week. Or you get some Christmas money. Maybe Santa Claus brings in some DK gift cards.
Don't tell the fucking aunts and uncles that, though. They're not going to be happy that you're gambling their Christmas money.
Hey, the aunts and uncles are starting to bet with us.
I know, dead ass. See you at Encore, everyone. What?
Yeah, right. Everyone, Merry Christmas. You guys know the deal. Peace, love, 5 stars, nothing less.